Michael Corbin, SWEPCO guy. Welcome back. Good to see you, my friend.
Good morning. Good to be here.
So what did Richard Llewellyn, Weather Channel?
Epic and crippling winter storm system.
Epic storm.
That must not sound good to you
guys
Michael
got your
Corbin.
I would imagine SWEPCO has its own team of meteorologists or somebody they're calling every 15 minutes. What are you guys looking at? What plans are being made?
We do have our own team of meteorologists, and we are making epic plans ourselves.
Richard is not just an outlier, a weather outlier, and coming up with some crazy forecast.
It sounds like he's pretty accurate, and this is a year where we've had 2 hurricanes and a snowstorm last month. So we're getting pretty good at this, and we've got the planning down.
Michael, what can people do today to prepare? I mean, you don't want people out there trimming trees around your power lines, right?
No, and what we want people to do is start making precautions now. Don't wait till Saturday night. Don't wait till Sunday morning. If you rely on medications, go get the refills that you need. If you have medical equipment, make sure that you've got charged up batteries. Make sure your iPads and iPhones are charged up and you've got backup power if you need it. Because if this comes in as predicted, we could have mass outages, for hours at a time, and people need to be ready for that.
What kind of crews you got on standby? Like guys coming in from Texas again and stuff like that? You got 10,000 guys at the ready.
Right now we have all of our SWEPCO crews ready to go. All of our contractors that we normally work with, we've asked them to be on standby. And as it gets a little closer, we'll make the determination of, do we need to bring people in from other states?
Okay, Michael, you said something right before that. You said mass outages. I don't think I've ever heard a SWEPCO person say that before. Mass outages sounds like an entire community could get hit, could be without power. Are you worried about that?
Well, what we're worried about is if we have ice. Ice is devastating to the electrical grid. If we just have snow, it will not be nearly as bad. And what our folks are saying right now is it's going to be a dry snow, unlike the very wet snow we had last month. And dry snow is not as damaging to the tree limbs and to the power grid. But, we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best in every situation.
Richard Llewellyn said central Louisiana and southwest Louisiana is looking for a crippling ice storm. That's a different ball game. And you have folks that have SWEPCO in parts of those areas too, right?
We do provide service down to Leesville, so we'll have people staged down that way, and we may very well have one set of scenarios up here in the northern part of the state and another in the southern part of the state, and we have to approach those differently.
What kind of added demand? Because we were talking during the break that electricity, just like anything else, a finite product. What kind of added demand? I would think you guys are looking at, man, it's like my thermostat alone, I keep it on 74, but you know what? It's going to be harder to keep it on 74.
We have plenty of power in our region, and that's not an issue. One of the things that always bothers me when we have a storm roll through is you get that call from an elected official in a rural parish. Ms. Smith is on oxygen. She's on her last bottle. She doesn't have backup. What can she do? And if a tree limb had fallen on a line on a normal day, we can go out and help Miss Smith. But when you have circuits that are out and we have trees down all over the place, there's just nothing that we can do. We can't run an extension cord to her. Mm-hmm. So that's why we really want people to prepare, to download the SWEPCO app, which will, if they have an outage, will give them an update of when we expect power to be back on, and provide some other information for them.
For those like me that I have one of those heat pump systems or whatever that has a little button that you put it on for emergency heat, that really runs my SWEPCO bill up. Can you help us out? Can you give us a break? Because my regular heat is not going to be probably sufficient when we get to 9 degrees, Michael.
Yeah, our houses just aren't built for single-digit temperatures, and that's just the bottom line. We're not like houses in the Midwest or
Why
in the Northeast.
would they be? Right?
Well, that's right.
It would be a silly cost.
Right.
This is completely unusual for us. But if you have a heat pump in your house, which usually those thermostats have an emergency heat button, turn it on, because the heat pump is not nearly as efficient once it gets down below 32 degrees.
Okay.
Do you anticipate that the snow, let's say it's 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, I don't know, into Monday morning, will that hinder trucks at all? Trucks are pretty big.
There's a lot of things that we have to look at, and one of them is traditionally I-49 and I-220 are closed down, and there's been times where I-49 between Shreveport and Natchitoches have been closed for almost a week. So that would take our crews that we need to move around and have them on smaller roads, slows down that time a little bit. The other thing that we have, especially Natchitoches South, is much of our distribution system is in very rural areas, and there's a lot of standing water. We dealt with alligators back during the hurricanes.
Oh boy!
And now you're going to have, not only have we had heavy rain all year, now you're going to have snow and melting snow, so access becomes a big problem.
For the workers, pardon me, I would think for the workers 9 degrees is just
whoa, man, no kidding.
Brutal.
You got enough socks for that.
They're heroes. That's all I can say, and especially those who come in from places like Florida. And they get quite a shock.
Let me ask you this, Mike.
Got a jacket I can wear?
Because when we have severe weather, your crews can't go out. I mean, if there's an active thunderstorm brewing, I mean, you can't send your crews out. Does that translate? If it's still snowing, can you not go out? Because he's talking about it could be snowing for 5 hours.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It really depends on safety and where the outage is. And what we do, our regular protocol is we're going to fix or repair faults in our transmission and major distribution lines first. Then we go to public safety, hospitals, police stations, communication,
Robert's house,
systems.
Aaron's house, yeah.
Media.
My house.
Media.
Not my house. I shouldn't say that.
Is the mayor's house on that list?
The mayor's house is not singled out. Okay. But once we take care of public safety, and during that time we're making those top level repairs, we're out assessing what's the other damage, what can we do, and it's basically how do we get the most people on for each repair.
Speaking of repair, you got a number of the number of men, women et al. That will be working this weekend if needed?
We don't have, or I don't have that number yet, but I would suspect that we're already at 1,000, and it will probably go up if this thing plays out like we think.
Got time for one more, kid?
Yeah, in your history, I mean, you're not a long-term SWEPCO person, but I'm sure you know a little bit about the history. I don't think we've seen anything like what they're saying is coming, have we?
No, usually our snow events are one day, and that's it. We have had some multiple day ice storms, and as I said earlier, those are the most devastating to us. But we're lucky right now. The trees haven't budded out yet, so the trees aren't quite as heavy as they would be.
And you
if
did
we had
say
a
second ago, pardon me, that your guys are looking at it and saying it looks like it's going to be a dry, lighter snow.
Yes, that's what we're hoping for. Dry, light snow.